Let's start now. The Infinite Hall of Knights. Growth is not a gift, it is a conquest. Sung Jin-Woo has reached level 40, a threshold that the system deems worthy of a job. But in this world, a job isn't something you apply for. It's something you bleed for. Standing before a gate that leads to a warped dimension known as the Knight's Hall, Jin-Woo must face a relentless tide of steel and magic. There are no health potions here. There is no rest. There is only the rhythmic clashing of blades and the cold realization that to become a king, one must first survive a massacre. Scene 1. The Gate of Destiny. The air in the abandoned warehouse was thick with dust and the hum of static electricity. In the center of the room, a gate pulsed with a strange golden hue. Unlike any red, blue, or rank gate Jin-Woo had ever seen. Notification. The job change quest has appeared. Requirement, level 40 reached. Would you like to enter the dungeon? Yes/no. Jin-Woo stood before the swirling portal, his reflection caught in the golden light. He looked different. His frame was broader, his muscles lean and dense like carbon fiber. But it was his eyes that had changed the most. They were no longer the eyes of a victim. They were sharp, analytical, and devoid of hesitation. A job change, he whispered, the words tasting like iron. I've spent my whole life being the weakest. Whatever is on the other side of this gate, it's the end of that version of me. He pressed yes. The world blurred. The warehouse vanished, replaced by a massive, vaulted hallway that seemed to stretch into infinity. The floor was polished black marble, and the walls were lined with towering statues of knights, their stone eyes staring down at him with silent judgment. Notification: you have entered the quest dungeon. Warning: you cannot use health potions or mana crystals in this area. Warning: your HP and MP will not recover upon level up. Jin-Woo's grip tightened on Kasaka's poison fang. So, it's a test of endurance. No healing. I have to finish this in one breath. Scene 2. The March of Steel. The silence of the hall was shattered by a mechanical clack. One of the stone statues at the far end of the hall began to move. Then another. And another. The stone fell away like husk, revealing suits of heavy plate armor animated by a ghostly blue flame. Monster. Silver Knight, Silver Wing. Monster. Heavy armor guard. They didn't scream. They didn't growl. They simply marched. The sound of hundreds of armored boots hitting the marble floor sounded like the heartbeat of a war machine. All right, Jin-Woo muttered, his body lowering into a predator's crouch. Let's see how many of you it takes to stop me. The first knight lunged, swinging a massive broadsword. Jin-Woo didn't just dodge. He counterattacked in the same motion. His dagger flickered like a purple snake, finding the gap in the armor at the neck. Spark. The knight's helmet flew off, and the ghostly flame inside extinguished. But as it fell, 3 more took its place. Skill. Bloodlust activated. The enemies are momentarily paralyzed by fear. Jin-Woo moved like a shadow. He was a blur of black and purple, weaving between the heavy swings of the guards. He wasn't just killing them. He was dismantling them. Every strike was calculated. Every movement was efficient. He knew he couldn't afford to waste a single drop of stamina. Scene 3. The Infinite Tide. 30 minutes passed. Then an hour. The floor was no longer black marble. It was covered in the shattered remains of suits of armor. But for every 10 knights Jin-Woo destroyed, 20 more emerged from the shadows of the pillars. There were archers now, firing arrows tipped with magical energy, and assassins that moved with a speed that rivaled his own. Jin-Woo was drenched in sweat. His breath was coming in ragged gasps. A heavy armored guard managed to clip his ribs with a mace, sending a jolt of white-hot pain through his side. Health, 64%. They don't stop. Jin-Woo realized, parrying an arrow with the flat of his blade. The system isn't testing my strength. It's testing my limit. It wants to see when I'll break. He looked at the end of the hall. A massive set of double doors stood there, guarded by a row of knights that looked different. Larger, their armor etched with ancient runes. I have to reach those doors, he growled. He activated, his speed doubling. He became a human bullet, smashing through the ranks of the Silverwings. He wasn't fighting with finesse anymore. He was fighting with raw, desperate power. He punched through breastplates and tore off gauntlets with his bare hands. Level up. Current level, 41. Warning, HP and MP have not been restored. Damn it, he cursed. The one safety net he had, the level up heal, was gone. He was truly on his own. Scene 4. The Hall of the Commander. With a final, explosive kick, Jin-Woo sent the last guard flying and slammed his shoulder into the double doors. They burst open, revealing a throne room that dwarfed the hallway. The room was bathed in a blood-red light. At the far end, sitting on a throne of swords, was a figure that made Jin-Woo's blood run cold. It was a commander knight, clad in crimson armor that seemed to pulse with its own heartbeat. A long, tattered red cape flowed behind it like a river of blood. Boss. Blood-red Commander Igris. Unlike the mindless automatons in the hallway, Igris radiated a crushing pressure. He didn't move immediately. He slowly stood up from his throne, his hand resting on the hilt of a massive longsword. Jin-Woo stood his ground, though his legs were shaking from exhaustion. He looked at the boss, then at his own broken, chipped daggers. "You're the one, aren't you?" Jin-Woo whispered. The final wall. Igris did something unexpected. He unbuckled his sword and tossed it aside. Then he unbuckled his secondary daggers and threw them to the floor. He raised his gauntleted fists. He's matching me? Jin-Woo realized. He saw I was exhausted and he wants a fair fight? No, he's mocking me. A surge of prideful anger flared in Jin-Woo's chest. He tossed his own daggers aside. Fine. If you want to brawl, let's brawl. Scene 5. The brutal dance. The clash was instantaneous. They met in the center of the room with an impact that cracked the floor. Igris was faster than anything Jin-Woo had ever faced. Every punch from the commander felt like being hit by a wrecking ball. Jin-Woo took a heavy blow to the jaw, spinning him around. Before he could recover, Igris grabbed him by the throat and slammed him into a stone pillar. Health, 38%. Jin-Woo spit out blood and grinned. Is that all? He drove his knee into Igris' stomach and followed up with a barrage of strikes. Left, right, hook. He was using every bit of his strength stat. The armor of the commander began to dent, but Igris didn't flinch. The fight moved across the room like a localized hurricane. They tore through pillars and smashed the throne. Jin-Woo was losing. His vision was tunneling. His muscles were tearing. I can't lose here, he thought. I've come too far. I've killed the snake. I've killed the traitors. I will not be killed by a suit of armor. In a moment of pure instinct, Jin-Woo saw an opening. As Igris swung a heavy haymaker, Jin-Woo ducked and drove his fingers into the gap of the commander's visor. Scene 6, The Killing Edge. Igris roared, a hollow, metallic sound, and tried to throw Jin-Woo off. But Jin-Woo held on like a leech. He reached for the discarded Kasaka's poison fang that had slid across the floor earlier. With a roar of his own, Jin-Woo plunged the dagger into the neck gap of Igris' armor. Critical hit! Paralysis has been inflicted. Igris stiffened. The blue flames in his eyes flickered. Jin-Woo didn't stop. He stabbed again and again, pouring every last drop of his mana into the strikes. Stay! Down! With one final overhead strike, the dagger buried itself deep into the commander's chest core. The red light in the room vanished. Igris slumped forward, his heavy armor clattering against the marble. You have defeated blood-red Commander Igris. Level up! Level up! Level up! Jin-Woo fell to his knees, his forehead resting against the cool floor. He was alive. He had won. Scene 7, The Choice. The room grew silent, but the quest wasn't over. A new window appeared, glowing with a dark, ethereal purple light. Notification. The Job Change Quest. Part 1. Complete. Evaluating player's performance. Points calculated for time spent, enemies defeated, boss difficulty. The system began to count. Total points, 45,800. Hidden requirement met. You fought long past your limit. Hidden requirement met. You defeated the boss without a weapon for the majority of the fight. Suddenly, the shadows in the room began to stretch and crawl toward Jin-Woo. They climbed his boots, wrapping around his legs like silk. The system has determined your job. Your performance has exceeded all known parameters. The system offers you a path that has been forgotten for eons. Will you accept the job, Necromancer? Jin-Woo stared at the screen. A necromancer? A mage that plays with the dead? He felt a twinge of disappointment. He was a fighter, a dealer of physical death. But wait, he whispered, looking at the prompt. The text began to glitch and change. The purple light turned into a void-like black. Notification. The job Necromancer is evolving based on players' hidden stats. New job detected, Shadow Monarch. Jin-Woo's eyes widened. He could feel the shadows in the room whispering to him. They weren't just dark spots on the floor anymore. They were a presence. They were waiting. He looked at the corpse of Igris. He looked at the thousands of shattered knights in the hallway. He realized what this power meant. He wasn't just a hunter anymore. He was an army. He reached out his hand toward the void. I accept. Notification. Job change. Shadow Monarch is being applied. Initial skill granted. Extraction. End of Episode 1.